Welcome to Promote, Profit, Publish. I'm your host, Juliette Clark, and I'm excited to have this conversation today. For some of you, it may be a little bit controversial. If not, if it is, I guess you'll just have to not listen. Anyway, before we get started, I want to send you guys over. Remember to go take our quiz at www.promoteprofitpublishquiz.com. Find out if you're really ready to publish. You know, when we start these journeys into writing a book, we think that writing the book is the hard part. Publishing is a little bit easier if you do it the right way, but the hardest part is the marketing. So find out, do you have that audience built? Do you know how you're going to market? Do you have the funds to pay for it? Those are all the things you guys never take into consideration before you do this, and it hurts you getting your expert book out into the realm. So also, don't forget to go over and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Superbrand Publishing over on YouTube. And everybody, if you're listening on a podcast or you're over reading the blog, you can actually see video over there. So you can see these people. You can see that my guest today sort of has purple hair. Is that purple?
It is purple.
It is purple. That she has purple hair. So if that's what you're into, you know, you can email us and find out what color purple that came out as. So today's guest is Megan Brame, and Megan is a 5-time award-winning advanced digital marketing strategist who helps entrepreneurs create the ride or die fans for life. And I love that you kept this really short and sweet. So welcome.
Thank you so much. And I hope I can be as controversial as you led me up to be. I think it's going to be actually really boring. So I hope I'm good.
You know what? I think it's going to be boring, but I think in a sense it's not going to be boring. So it just depends on, you know, I think which side of the aisle you're on, because we're going to talk a little bit of politics today too. So Megan is a social media and marketing expert. And before we jumped on here, we were talking about, do you really need social media? Do you really need Facebook? And I'm going to let you kind of expound on that, because you guys all know out there, I haven't been on Facebook for over a year and my business has taken off. It's actually been a good thing.
I love that. And that is such a perfect proof. I think so many people get scared to, like, I can't leave Facebook. Oh, my fans will go away, or nobody will know that I exist. And you're proof that you don't need it. So I rant against Facebook because, in my opinion, they just have way too much power and influence, not only in the world, but small businesses, with the ability to control, toggle your reach. Are you able to reach the people who need your help? Not really, not without paying. And even if you pay, like we were talking about before, there's no guarantee you're actually getting it to the right people. And so my beef with Instagram is long and vast. And I don't think you need social media. I think you need organic marketing and a strategy for organic marketing. So if that is social media, then so be it. There's nothing wrong with that. You got to run your business the best way that's for you. But if you're like, I'm really sick of Instagram, you don't have to be on Instagram. There are ways around this.
There really are. So one of the things that happened, so I had a business page, I had a podcast page, I had a lot of different, and a huge audience. I had a really big audience over there, about 5,000 people, and plus, nice. The likes on all the pages. And some of the things I always would get scared. I would get tired of it. I feel like it's gotten really toxic. In the sense that, a lot of people fighting on there, but there are other things for entrepreneurs, like the time suck. How do you avoid the time suck?
I think you really have to start at the beginning, which I know is really trite and cliche, but you have to start at figuring out who you're trying to target. Are they even on Facebook? And if so, are they on Facebook for the same reason that your business is on Facebook? When I was a director of marketing, I got into fights, like go in the corner, take a timeout fights with the sales department because they wanted to be on Instagram. And I was a director of marketing for a staffing company. And nobody's going on Instagram looking for jobs. They're going on LinkedIn, Twitter, maybe Facebook, not really. But my point was, we can't devote time to being everywhere just for the sake of being everywhere. We have to be strategic about where we're going, who we're talking to, and how we're talking to them. It's great if you want to just reserve your name everywhere. That's fine. But don't put so much effort into a platform that isn't going to provide for you.
Yeah, and that brings that one size fits all strategy, which I do see a lot out there, where someone will take a post and they'll do the same post across different platforms, but different platforms are meant to be used in different ways. So would your advice be to just pick one or two of them, if you have to be on it all, choose one or two of them and thoroughly understand that platform and how you need to post and adjust?
I would, yeah, absolutely. I think that's a fantastic strategy because first it's an ego thing. You have to give up your ego and say, I don't have to compete with all of my competitors who are on Pinterest because I know my fans or my ideal client is not on Pinterest for the things that I do. And just because your competitors are on there, I feel like it's kind of like a follow the lead, like a Pied Piper kind of situation where like someone will start on a social media platform and then their competitor will follow them because, oh, well, Juliet's on there, so I better be on there. And then someone else says, oh, well, Megan's on there, so I better be on there. And nobody's actually talking or making sales or doing anything. We're all just kind of following the leader, and the leader didn't know what they were doing either. So when you are picking a social media platform, don't look at where your competitors are. That's just going to put you down a rabbit hole of time waste, and it's detrimental. So instead, focus on who your ideal customer is, what platform they use if you want to use social media, how they use it, and how you can utilize that to your advantage. Remember, with every social media platform, and now even Pinterest too, their goal is to keep you on the app as much as possible. They can't sell ads on your website. They can only sell it on the Instagram feed. So if you can get an organic strategy that dips your toe into using the amplification power of a social media platform, but you don't rely on that as the only strategy, I think that is the smartest way to go for a long-term approach. That makes sense. I started rambling. I hope that was right.
No, it totally makes sense. But here's the thing. So let's talk about this a little bit. So off of social media, I had to rely on building actual relationships again, which was amazing because I felt better about the communication and people were buying more. And I think that's one of the things that social media, they started with this, especially Facebook. Oh, we're going to have a community. And even to the point where they built those communities. And one of my beefs with Facebook is they get a new idea, they put in the algorithms, and then they force your old audience out of the way. And we saw that back. Remember when they decided that communities were the new churches of your life?
Yeah.
And we saw people go from having a business page with, great engagement, people going on, to all of a sudden those people didn't have visibility and now you have a group. And people thought the groups were the way, and nobody's selling anything out of a group anymore. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, 500%.
Yeah.
I think that Facebook in particular, but all platforms to one extent, you're beholden to their whim. And that whim can rock the boat in thousands of dollars. You can be up because they implemented this new feature that works for you. Like Reels was really big whenever Instagram started that, mostly because they just wanted to be TikTok. But when everyone else got Reels, then you're just one of millions, and you can't differentiate yourself unless you worked really hard in the beginning to set yourself apart in such a way that no one else would go to another author or another marketing strategist or another, like you just are at their mercy. And that's not the way you should run a business.
Very true. So let's get into something that people don't realize about social media. Have you ever read The Age of Surveillance Capitalism?
No, I haven't.
You have not read that yet.
No.
Okay. So Facebook, these guys aren't making money. It started out, all of them, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, that it was, this big community, be able to communicate. But then it turned into billions and possibly even trillions of dollars of revenue because they've collected all of this data on us. So let's talk about the downside of that. I read an article the other day about a woman who requested, because you can request from Facebook, you can request a history, a log of everything you posted. She got 14,000 pages.
Oh my God.
14,000 plus pages of information that Facebook had collected on her. So, think about that, you guys, when it comes to social media. How scary is that they track, they've done all this buying, they've sold your stuff. Is that really what we want to do for our businesses?
And to that point, I remember when Facebook logins became all the rage. Like everybody had login on Facebook on my blog, and you'll be able to follow my page or something like that. And they made it so easy, which is the most insidious part, right? They made it so easy. Why would you not have this cool feature? Why would you not have a Facebook login if that's going to give me more fans or something? But then I think we started to shift from vanity numbers into realizing that if we have 20,000 people on our Facebook group, 6 people are seeing my message. Right. And so what's the point? What's the point of it? And I think that's when it started to just become this world of, I need to focus. I need to stop doing what's easy, what they're saying is easy, and start actually thinking critically about, is this the right choice for my business? What does this actually provide in terms of giving my customer a good experience? Does a Facebook login really do anything for them for that? Not really. So, and to another point, I guess, another quick side ramble is they made things so easy so that we put so many things on our websites, on our business cards, on everything. Like so many, here's my Twitter feed, here's my Instagram feed, and here's my blah, blah, blah. And it slowed all of our websites down. So all of this trying to put on shiny objects for our users isn't actually helping them. I believe minimal. Keep it simple. Tell them what you want them to do and stop trying to give them all of this flash. They don't need flash. They need your solutions.
Yeah. And I think the flash is actually why marketing is changing every 9 to about 14. Would you agree with that? About every 9 to 14 months, we see.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. We see changes in the marketing because people get exhausted by, oh, we're supposed to opt in for that. Oh, now we're taking a quiz. Oh, now I've got a video. Now I've got a book. People are just exhausted by all of it.
Absolutely. And I think if you are on Instagram personally, how many times do you just scroll through your feed and you're like, oh, there's a plant picture. Oh, there's somebody's kid. Oh, there's but you don't stop. You don't take it in. You're just like, that's a cool plant. Oh, that kid's ugly.
Right?
And so why would you want to run your business in a situation where people aren't exposed to your message? Right. In the way that you need them to be exposed?
That's so true. When I get on Pinterest, I can't get off.
Yes.
It's like one of those things. I don't do it as much as I used to, but when it was new, oh my God, I would pin recipes, exercises, but I would never do them. I would never buy. I would never engage. In fact, I used to tell people if I actually ate all the food I pinned and worked out as much as I pinned, I would be like a 400-pound sumo wrestler.
With the most beautiful open concept house.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, perfect. But, people don't. They've just gotten so immune to it all. And it's the same thing with the Facebook ads. Like, I remember back about 2 years ago when people were having events, or they'd have the online events and summit and opt-in, and they'd get all these things in their feed for coaches. They would actually complain about, how do I get rid of this? I'm tired of seeing these people. So I think we really are. We're just exhausted by it all.
I think so. And I also think that where a lot of entrepreneurs make mistakes is they'll think about how they think an platform runs. So how do I think Pinterest runs? Well, I think that I can put this image, this pin, and put a little description, and then maybe use hashtags, maybe not. I'm not really sure if Pinterest works like that, but I'll do it anyways. And then it's just going to bring me tons of people into my sales funnel. But it doesn't work that way because you're up against so many different people who are trying to do the same thing. So it pays to, instead of thinking like this, I'm going to make all these recipes and I'm going to do all these workouts and I'm going to have the most beautiful life that you have ever seen. Think about, all right, people use Pinterest to pin stuff that they're never going to do. Or if they do, it's because they're really bored or something. So like, how can I instead pivot that sort of thinking to my advantage? And to be fair, I don't know the answer to that. I'd have to do some jotting down on that, on how that would work. But that's just my example of be realistic about the way platforms are used before you start utilizing them as a marketing strategy. Because I don't want anybody to waste time thinking like, I made all these beautiful pins and people are pinning them, but nobody's coming to my website. Well, because that's how Pinterest works. And that's how Pinterest wants to work. And so, yeah.
Okay. So I have a question about Pinterest. Be honest.
Okay.
Audience, answer this in your head and be honest too. So
keep your eyes on your own paper.
That's right. How many times have you made something on Pinterest and it didn't look anything like what was on Pinterest?
God. The Instant Pot recipes that I make just look like some variation of curry. No matter what I do, it just looks like some sort of glop together of just, there's no beautiful life here. There's no beautiful Instant Pot recipes. It's all just mush that may or may not taste good. TBD on that.
Right? See, I do desserts. They always taste good, but they never. In fact, I put them on the table and my family will be like, what is that? What is that and why should I eat it?
Thank you for making that. That's great. We're so happy.
So you mentioned something about they're not clicking through to my site. Another thing that I don't see people doing these days is, remember the days when we all had huge lists of people who didn't respond? Is that sort of out the window too, since you're someone who does a lot of marketing and funneling? What works now?
That's a very good question. And my answer is terrible. Different things work for different people. So I know.
Come on, one size fits all. Give it to us.
I'm sorry. If I had that answer, then my hair would be the most beautiful shade of purple in the world instead of the faded purple it is right now, because I would be a trillionaire. But do lists work? Lists work if you can honor that relationship that you have requested from somebody. The ability to get into someone's inbox and not be hit at spam is rare. Even if you're not spam, they opted in, but they just don't want to read you anymore. People hit spam very liberally. So to get past that, you have to respect the amount of work that it took for them to give you their email. So if you have an opt-in that you're using as your sales funnel at the beginning of your sales funnel, and it's your goal to get someone on a list and then get them into an automated email sequence, you have to do it in such a way that honors the reason they signed up. So maybe somebody signs up for mine for a marketing spreadsheet or a free chapter of my book. Why did they want that? Well, they wanted the marketing spreadsheet because they want help with figuring out a social media strategy, or they downloaded the copy of the chapter of my book because they really wanted to see what the worst day in my business was. Honor that and create the sequence that honors that and engages them. If you can get somebody to respond and reply to your email, you got them. It's gold. And so instead of just doing weekly updates about like, here's the blog post I put out, which I've done.
I do all the time.
I do. I've done it, and I'm trying to get away from it because who cares? Who cares? They get millions of blog posts out every week. Like, who cares? If I can instead think of a way to keep you engaged and have you answer questions, and kind of that will funnel you into my blog posts or my podcast episode or things like that, then I'm giving you more value. It's not about me. It's not about me and my blog posts that I put out and my podcast that I put out. It's about, why am I doing this? I'm doing this to help you with your marketing. And so my email list and the newsletters that I send out have to reflect that.
Great answer. So what do you think about all these people that are sending out all these joint ventures? Because I actually used to. They really didn't make me. I make money here and there on them, but I stopped and I run our bestseller campaigns, my author's bestseller campaigns instead. And I do that because I want people to see the diversity. I want them to see what's going on and how this all really works. What do you think of the people who are still sending out? Because I still get them from a lot of people, the joint ventures. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not really interested. Like, I gave up on you guys a long time ago.
And there you go. So I think that joint ventures can work, but the expectations have to be realistic. That, like you said, most people are over this. What's going to make them click and join this webinar or whatever? Mm-hmm. What is the actual value you're giving? Because if you're just doing a joint webinar to make money, which, okay, we all are, I'll grant you that.
Right. We're
doing this to make money, but my customer doesn't care that it's for me making money. My customer cares about what's in it for me.
Right.
So you can flip that instead to not be like, join me on this joint venture. It's, how's your marketing going? Mm-hmm. Or how do you like Instagram, or are you getting sick of it? Ask questions, get people involved. That can help with the joint venture situation. Not everybody's into it. And that is fine, because we don't want everybody. We want the people who get what we're doing.
Exactly. And I feel the joint ventures for the programs at this point are really going after the newer audiences.
Definitely.
I think people who have been in this business for a while understand that, those things aren't going to help me.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
I think with more experienced businesses, it's just too difficult, because in the beginning, most people are starting off on the same steps. Like, what system do I need to set up for my business? What goals do I need to set? What social media platform should I be on? That's much easier to target people. But when you're like 5-6 years in business, it's not the same strategy, right? Everybody's kind of gone off onto their own little things. And how do you group people in on a joint venture webinar? I don't know.
Wow. Well, this has been illuminating. I hope it has been for you guys too. Megan, where do we find you? You have a podcast too. Talk to us a little bit about your podcast and then where we can contact you.
Well, they should go listen to the podcast, because the amazing Juliet Clark was just on Talking Quizzes and Breaking Hearts.
There you go. You didn't send me a link. You need to send me a link so I can share it.
It's not up yet.
Okay. All right.
We got you. Don't worry. The podcast is called Stop Sucking at Business. And what it does is I bring on people much smarter than myself to help us all figure out what we're doing in this crazy business world and how to actually make a profit. So you can find that everywhere, but you can go to meganbrame.com. That's my hub. That's where all the stuff is. And I would love to see you there.
Oh, well, thank you so much for being on today. We really appreciate your insight and your purple hair.
Thank you so much, Juliet. I love you. I love you and I like you.